Hello there, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. Tonight we drift through the softest substance in the cosmos, a material so small, yet so powerful, that it shapes the light of galaxies and the birth of worlds. It is called cosmic dust, the quiet architect of the universe. Invisible to our eyes, yet present everywhere, cosmic dust fills the vastness of space like a shimmering veil. It dances through galaxies, travels between stars, and gathers in clouds where suns are born. Each tiny grain carries within it the memory of creation, fragments of stars that lived and died long before our world began. Though it may seem insignificant, this dust is the foundation of everything we know. From it, planets form, oceans emerge, and even life itself takes its first breath. Every breath you take, every atom in your body, was once part of cosmic dust. So, as you close your eyes tonight, imagine yourself floating among these tiny particles, drifting through starlight, surrounded by the soft glow of infinity. This is the most relaxing facts about cosmic dust to fall asleep to. Cosmic dust is not like the dust we find on Earth. It is made of minuscule grains, smaller than 1,000th of a millimeter, composed of silicates, carbon, ice, and metals. Yet despite its size, it influences the universe on a grand scale. Cosmic dust scatters and absorbs light, painting the sky with colors, shaping nebulae, and softening starlight into the glow we see across galaxies. Without it, the universe would appear sharp, harsh, and colorless. Dust gives the cosmos its beauty, a natural filter that turns emptiness into art. Every grain of cosmic dust tells a story. Some were forged in the hearts of dying stars, born from the ashes of supernovas, others condensed in the cooling gas of young suns, forming the first solid particles in existence. These ancient grains are time travelers, fragments of cosmic history, drifting for billions of years, crossing galaxies, and carrying with them the signatures of their origins. Scientists who study them call them stardust grains, because that's exactly what they are, pieces of stars scattered into the dark. The space between stars, known as the interstellar medium, is filled with gas and dust. Though it seems empty, it contains clouds vast enough to swallow solar systems whole. In these quiet regions, cosmic dust floats like mist, clumping together over eons under gravity's pull. Slowly, these clumps become denser, forming molecular clouds, the very places where stars and planets are born. Cosmic dust, in this way, is both the seed and the soil of the universe. Our own solar system began as a dust cloud 4.5 billion years ago. Inside it, tiny grains collided, sticking together through static and gravity. Over millions of years, they grew, first into pebbles, then rocks, then entire worlds. Every planet, moon, and asteroid you see today began as dust drifting through space. Earth itself, with all its mountains, oceans, and living creatures, was once a handful of cosmic dust. The very substance beneath your feet was forged in the quiet spaces between the stars. Cosmic dust also plays with light in extraordinary ways. When starlight passes through a dusty cloud, shorter wavelengths like blue are scattered, while longer wavelengths like red pass through. This is why the edges of some nebulas glow crimson, and why sunsets on Earth burn in gold and orange. Dust makes color possible. Without it, the universe would shine only in harsh white light, devoid of the soft gradients that make the night sky feel alive. In space, dust acts as both veil and mirror. It hides stars behind its opacity, but reflects their light in shimmering halos. Reflection nebulas, those glowing blue clouds, are made entirely of cosmic dust scattering starlight, like fog illuminated by moonbeams. These regions are both mysterious and mesmerizing, blending science and poetry in every wisp. To study them is to read the fingerprints of the universe, the subtle traces of matter painting light itself. Each grain of cosmic dust is unique. Some are spherical, others jagged, some metallic, others icy. Their surfaces are rough, etched by radiation and collisions over millions of years. Yet each one, no matter how small, carries the signature of its birth star, the elemental recipe from which it was made. When scientists collect dust particles from comets and meteorites, they're holding relics older than our planet, untouched since the dawn of time. Every speck is a message whispering, "I have traveled through eternity to be here." Cosmic dust is fragile. In the harsh environment of space, it can be destroyed by heat, radiation, or shockwaves from supernovas. Yet destruction only leads to rebirth. When stars die, they produce new dust in their explosions, replenishing what was lost. The cycle never ends. Dust becomes stars, stars become dust. Creation and destruction are not opposites in the cosmos. They are partners, moving in perfect balance through time. When sunlight hits the thin haze of dust surrounding our solar system, it creates the zodiacal light, a faint, triangular glow visible just before dawn or after dusk. For ancient civilizations, it was a mystical light, believed to be a sign from the heavens. Today, we know it's the reflection of sunlight off cosmic dust left behind by comets and asteroids. It is a gentle reminder that even the smallest things, invisible particles drifting through the void, can create beauty visible across an entire sky. And though we think of dust as ordinary, cosmic dust is one of the most essential ingredients for life. It carries complex organic molecules, carbon chains, amino acids, and even simple sugars across the galaxy. When comets and meteorites deliver this dust to young planets, they bring the seeds of chemistry that make biology possible. Life, in a very literal sense, is dust awakened by light. Every living thing is a continuation of that story, the cosmos learning to see itself. Cosmic dust is far older than Earth itself. Some particles drifting through the solar system today were born over 7 billion years ago, long before our sun existed. These ancient grains, older than our planet, have traveled through multiple generations of stars, passing from one cosmic cycle to another. When a star dies and its remnants disperse, the dust it leaves behind doesn't vanish. It continues its journey, gathering new atoms, joining new clouds, and eventually taking part in the formation of new suns. In this way, dust is the universe's great recycler, a bridge between what was and what will be. Every atom of your body has likely existed in many forms, across countless stars, drifting through the darkness before finding a home in you. The space between planets is not empty. It is filled with an invisible river of dust, constantly flowing through the solar system. Every day, thousands of tons of cosmic dust fall onto Earth unnoticed. These particles drift through our atmosphere, glowing briefly as shooting stars before becoming part of our world. Some land silently on mountaintops, in oceans, or even in your backyard. When you touch the ground, you are likely touching dust that once drifted between worlds. Cosmic dust connects every planet, every moon, every comet, a constant reminder that space is not separation, but connection. The universe, even in its silence, is always sharing itself. In the vacuum of space, cosmic dust acts as both a barrier and a cradle. It shields fragile molecules from harsh radiation while providing surfaces for chemical reactions. On the surfaces of these grains, atoms meet and bind, forming water, carbon monoxide, and even organic compounds. These reactions are the quiet chemistry of creation, taking place in darkness, without light or heat, guided only by time. When astronomers study these tiny grains, they find the signatures of life's building blocks imprinted upon them. It's a humbling thought that in the coldest corners of space, where no creature could survive, the universe is already preparing the ingredients for life. Some of the most beautiful phenomena in the sky are born from cosmic dust. The Milky Way's soft band of light, stretching across the night sky, is not made of stars alone. Much of its glow comes from dust scattering their light. The delicate halos around bright stars, the glowing wisps of nebulas, and even the faint colors of sunrise are all gifts of dust. Without it, space would be pure darkness, cold and sharp without texture or tone. Dust softens the universe, painting light into gradients, giving shape to shadows, and turning emptiness into depth. In a sense, cosmic dust is the universe's artist, blending chaos into beauty, physics into poetry. When a comet passes close to the sun, its icy nucleus begins to evaporate, releasing dust into space. This trail of particles lingers long after the comet is gone, forming a glowing path that Earth sometimes crosses. When that happens, we experience meteor showers, streaks of light flashing through the atmosphere as dust burns away. Each shooting star is a farewell from a comet, a momentary glow marking the end of a journey that began billions of years ago. What we call a wish upon a star is, in truth, the final light of ancient dust, a reminder that even endings can be luminous. The colors of dust reveal its origins. Dust born in cool red giants is rich in carbon, while dust from hot blue stars is silicate and metallic. When scientists analyze these compositions, they can trace the genealogy of matter itself, mapping which stars contributed to the cosmic ecosystem. It's as if each grain carries a family tree written in atoms. By studying dust, astronomers learn the history of the universe not through words, but through elements. In these tiny archives lie the entire biography of existence, from the first stars that ever burned to the galaxies yet unborn. Not all dust drifts freely in space. Some is trapped in orbit around stars, forming vast disks of material that glow in infrared light. These protoplanetary disks are the birthplaces of planets. Within them, dust grains collide and stick, slowly growing into pebbles, then rocks, and eventually worlds. The process is patient, taking millions of years, and yet from this slow accumulation comes everything: oceans, mountains, atmospheres, and perhaps even life. Every planet is a monument to dust's persistence. The universe builds not in haste, but in quiet, deliberate gestures of time. When light from distant galaxies travels through cosmic dust, it bends and reddens, an effect known as interstellar extinction. To astronomers, this is both a challenge and a gift. Dust obscures our view, hiding the stars behind it, but it also reveals where new stars are forming. The same clouds that conceal creation are the places where creation thrives. In this way, dust plays both guardian and guide. It reminds us that not all mysteries are meant to be solved at once, that sometimes beauty lies in partial knowing, in the gentle blur that softens reality. Even the space between galaxies, the intergalactic medium, contains dust. Though extremely sparse, these particles travel for unimaginable distances, carried by galactic winds and radiation. Over billions of years, they drift through the cosmic web, spreading elements from one galaxy to another. This intergalactic dust acts like pollen, fertilizing distant regions with the materials of life. It is the quiet messenger of the universe, ensuring that no corner of creation remains untouched by the story of the stars. The same particles that once formed in the heart of a sun may someday rest in the light of another galaxy. The dust that reaches Earth often lands in the most unexpected places: on snow, in deserts, even on the surface of the ocean. Researchers who collect these particles from mountaintops or Antarctic ice find material billions of years old, containing elements from supernovas and ancient comets. To hold such dust in one's hand is to touch eternity, to cradle a piece of the cosmos that has traveled farther than thought can imagine. Every grain is a tiny monument to time, a record of creation written in silence. When you breathe, some of that ancient dust enters you. You become, once again, what you always were, a part of the stars. Cosmic dust isn't static, it's always moving. Every atom of dust is part of a vast and intricate circulation, a cosmic wind that sweeps through the Milky Way. Shock waves from supernovas push dust outward, while the gravity of new stars draws it back in. The cycle repeats endlessly, like the tide of a galactic ocean. What seems still in the deep reaches of space is, in fact, flowing with unimaginable grace. The Milky Way breathes through dust, inhaling creation, exhaling transformation. It's an endless exchange, a rhythm that never falters, a reminder that motion is life, even in the most silent corners of the universe. Dust doesn't just travel between stars, it travels between galaxies. Powerful jets from quasars and galactic collisions can fling vast clouds of dust into intergalactic space, where it drifts for billions of years. Some of this dust may even cross from one galaxy to another, carrying the raw materials for new worlds across cosmic distances. Imagine a single grain, smaller than a speck of smoke, wandering through the void between galaxies, cold, alone, but immortal. It will not decay, it will not dissolve. Someday, gravity may call it home again. That tiny traveler may one day help form a new star, a new planet, a new beginning. The color of the universe itself, the faint beige glow that astronomers call the cosmic latte, is partly shaped by dust. As starlight travels across space, cosmic dust scatters and softens it, blending the countless colors of the cosmos into one serene hue. It's as if the universe painted itself in warmth and quiet. When you look at the soft light of dawn, you're seeing a small echo of that same blending. The universe's favorite shade, the color of everything and nothing. Dust doesn't just create stars and planets, it gives the universe its gentle face. When spacecraft leave Earth, they sometimes collide with particles of cosmic dust at incredible speeds. Even a grain the size of a grain of sand can strike with the force of a bullet. To study these collisions, scientists create collectors made of delicate aerogel, a translucent material that captures dust without destroying it. When researchers examine those tiny particles, they find minerals, ices, and even prebiotic molecules, evidence of chemistry happening in the dark. What's astonishing is that these microscopic visitors arriving from space are our messengers from eternity, carrying the memory of the cosmos into our laboratories and our understanding. In the deep cold of space, where temperatures fall below 260 degrees Celsius, cosmic dust becomes the foundation for ice. Layer upon layer of frozen gases, water, methane, ammonia, accumulate on dust grains, forming miniature frozen worlds. These icy particles drift in comets and interstellar clouds, preserving the chemistry of the early universe like cosmic time capsules. When comets eventually visit the inner solar system, they release that ancient material, seeding planets with water and organic compounds. In a quiet, invisible way, dust may have delivered the spark of life to Earth, not through fire or thunder, but through the slow fall of frozen light. There's a type of cosmic dust so dark it barely reflects any light at all. Found in the dense molecular clouds where stars are born, this dark dust absorbs starlight completely, making entire regions of the sky look like holes in the cosmos. But within that darkness, creation is at work. Hidden stars grow, shielded from radiation, forming in secret. What looks empty to the eye is actually overflowing with energy. It's a comforting paradox that sometimes what appears as darkness is simply light in its most patient form. Every nebula, every galaxy, every glowing region of the night sky is shaped by cosmic dust, sculpted by gravity. Filaments of dust stretch for light years, twisting into spirals and waves. These structures look like delicate smoke, but weigh more than entire planets. Through them, light weaves and bends, giving shape to what would otherwise be invisible. Astronomers often describe dust as the skeleton of the galaxy, a framework upon which stars are hung. Without dust, the cosmos would be a sea without form, a canvas without structure. It's the silent architect behind all beauty we see in the sky. Cosmic dust carries within it not just the memory of stars, but the story of time itself. Some grains were created before our galaxy existed. They are older than the Milky Way, older than the light we see. These ancient travelers have survived supernovas, collisions, and the expansion of space. They are among the universe's oldest witnesses, older even than most of the stars that now shine. When you look at the night sky, you are seeing a stage decorated with dust that has existed since nearly the beginning of time. You are watching ancient matter retell the story of creation over and over. Cosmic dust doesn't just exist in outer space. It also surrounds Earth in a vast, invisible halo known as the interplanetary dust cloud. It stretches across the inner solar system, catching sunlight and scattering it in all directions. This faint, eternal shimmer is what we see as the zodiacal light, and it's a quiet reminder that Earth, too, swims through cosmic memory. Every sunrise passes through that dust. Every breath of air contains atoms that once floated between the stars. We are surrounded by the past, not metaphorically, but physically. We live within the echo of creation. When you look up at the stars and see that faint, milky glow spread across the sky, you are not seeing emptiness. You are seeing dust illuminated by light, the smallest things in the universe revealing the largest truths. Every flicker, every color, every shimmer is dust, scattering the light of eternity. The cosmos is not a void but a tapestry, woven from particles too small to see, yet too eternal to forget. In those grains lies the proof that nothing is wasted, that everything transforms, and that even the quietest parts of existence can shine forever. Cosmic dust is not evenly spread throughout the universe. It gathers in intricate patterns that mirror the hidden architecture of galaxies. When scientists map these patterns in infrared light, they find delicate webs and tendrils connecting stars like threads in a cosmic tapestry. These filaments are not random. They trace the invisible flows of gravity and magnetism that sculpt the universe. Each wisp of dust marks the path of creation, where matter once drifted freely and began to gather. In this way, dust acts like the handwriting of the cosmos, recording where energy once moved, where stars will soon ignite, and where light will one day emerge. When we look up at the night sky and see the faint haze of the Milky Way, we are peering through the dusty arms of our own galaxy. The soft glow that seems like fog is actually billions of stars, their light diffused through layers of cosmic dust. This haze is not emptiness, it is fullness beyond measure, a corridor of light filtered through the ancient remains of stars. What we perceive as beauty is really physics made visible. Dust transforms chaos into serenity, scattering the brilliance of suns into something the human eye can gently behold. Some of the most mysterious particles of cosmic dust are found inside meteorites, ancient rocks that fall to Earth, carrying within them grains older than our solar system. These pre-solar grains contain isotopes and minerals that could only have formed in long-dead stars. When researchers analyze them, they are literally touching matter from before the sun was born. It's as though time folded, allowing us to hold the past in our hands. These grains are fragments of forgotten worlds, pieces of long-lost suns and whispers from eras when the universe was still learning how to shine. Cosmic dust also shapes the rhythm of light we receive from distant stars. As dust drifts across our line of sight, it dims and reddens the starlight, changing the way the universe looks from Earth. This effect, called reddening, doesn't just color the stars, it tells astronomers where the dust lies, how dense it is and what it's made of. In this way, dust becomes both obstacle and guide. It hides, but it also reveals. It's as if the cosmos wraps its deepest truths in layers of mist, inviting us to look closer, to see not through the haze, but into it. In regions where new stars are born, dust and gas swirl together in complex magnetic fields. These fields align the tiny dust grains, causing them to polarize light, subtly twisting the glow of starlight as it passes through. By studying this polarization, scientists can map invisible magnetic patterns across galaxies. These maps look like threads of silk woven through the night, tracing the universe's unseen forces. The discovery is profound, that even the smallest particles align with vast cosmic order, moving in harmony with energies that stretch across light years. There is an astonishing truth about cosmic dust. It never truly dies. When dust grains are destroyed in the heat of a supernova, their elements are released back into space, only to condense again in cooler regions. The calcium in your bones, the carbon in your heart, the iron in your blood, all of it once drifted as dust before being forged into living matter. In that sense, you are part of an unbroken chain, a single breath in an eternal cycle. You are dust that learned to look up and remember where it came from. Some cosmic dust forms shimmering halos around galaxies, faint rings of light that extend for thousands of light years beyond their visible edges. These halos are made of dust, expelled by dying stars and carried outward by galactic winds. They are so faint that only the most sensitive instruments can detect them. Yet they glow with subtle beauty, marking the true boundaries of galaxies, soft, luminous edges where matter fades into nothingness. These halos remind us that every structure in the universe, no matter how grand, ends not with a line, but with a whisper. The interplay between light and dust creates one of the most haunting illusions in the cosmos, reflection nebulas. These clouds don't emit light of their own. They simply reflect the glow of nearby stars. The result is a soft, ethereal radiance, like moonlight drifting through fog. In places like the Pleiades, these reflection clouds shimmer with blue light scattered by microscopic grains. The science behind them is simple, but the effect is breathtaking. Reflection nebulas are the universe's mirrors, cosmic still waters that allow us to glimpse the beauty of light, traveling through eternity. On the surface of the moon, cosmic dust behaves differently. Without air or weather, every tiny impact leaves a mark, creating a fine, powdery layer called regolith. Over billions of years, the moon has been dusted continuously by cosmic debris, a silent rain of particles from across the solar system. Each grain that lands on the lunar surface carries a fragment of deep space with it. If you were to stand there and hold a handful of lunar soil, you'd be holding the memory of countless stars, worlds, and collisions. Even in stillness, the moon is covered in the stories of the cosmos. Cosmic dust glows faintly in the far infrared part of the spectrum, invisible to our eyes but captured by space telescopes. This faint radiation, called thermal emission, is the dust's whisper, its warmth, its presence, its soft song in the cold. By measuring it, astronomers can map the coldest regions of galaxies, the places where stars have not yet formed. These maps look like watercolor paintings of the cosmos, filled with delicate waves of heat and shadow. Even in near absolute darkness, dust glows with memory. It holds the warmth of everything that has ever burned. When astronomers observe distant galaxies, cosmic dust sometimes hides them completely, wrapping them in a veil of darkness. Yet in infrared light, those same galaxies glow vividly, bright, warm, and alive. It's a reminder that light never truly disappears, it only changes form. Dust doesn't erase light, it transforms it, softens it, spreads it. In that transformation lies beauty. What seems lost is only hidden, waiting for the right eyes, or the right wavelength, to find it again. In the same way, the unseen in our own lives often holds the most meaning. The universe speaks through dust, whispering that what is veiled is never truly gone. When new stars form, they release intense radiation that pushes against the clouds of dust surrounding them. This struggle between gravity and light creates breathtaking shapes. Pillars, waves, and arcs sculpted from gas and dust. These are the pillars of creation, cosmic sculptures shaped by pressure and energy. Over millions of years, light carves its way through matter, creating the soft landscapes we see in images from Hubble and Webb. The process is violent and serene at once, a reminder that beauty often emerges where forces collide. Out of chaos comes structure, out of resistance, grace. The smallest grains of cosmic dust are nearly impossible to imagine. Some measure less than 100 nanometers, smaller than bacteria, smaller than the wavelength of visible light. Yet even these invisible motes affect the glow of entire galaxies. They absorb light, warm up, and re-emit energy as faint infrared radiation. It's astonishing that something so small can change the way we see the universe. From dust, galaxies find their glow. From the unseen, visibility is born. The cosmos works not through grand gestures, but through infinite subtleties. In the early universe, before galaxies took shape, there was no dust, only hydrogen, helium, and darkness. Dust was born later, when the first stars lived and died. Their explosions scattered heavy elements, carbon, silicon, oxygen, iron, into space, forming the first solid particles. These tiny fragments became the seeds of everything that followed. Every nebula, every planet, every living being owes its existence to those first grains. Dust, in a sense, marked the universe's transition from simplicity to complexity, from energy to matter, from chaos to beauty. Without dust, there could be no us. Cosmic dust doesn't always float freely. Around certain stars, it forms beautiful rings and arcs, sculpted by the gravitational pull of unseen planets. These dust rings act like fingerprints, revealing hidden worlds that might otherwise go undetected. In the system around the star Fomalhaut, a vast, glowing ring of dust outlines where planets quietly orbit, unseen. It's as if the dust knows the presence of the worlds it helped create, tracing their invisible paths. Even where we cannot yet see, dust draws the outline of existence. Some of the dust that rains down on Earth comes from comets passing near the Sun. As they heat up, they shed fine grains that drift through our atmosphere. Every year, around the same time, Earth passes through these ancient trails, and we see meteor showers. Each flash of light, each streak across the sky, is a grain of dust returning home in fire. For a brief instant, something that once drifted between planets, frozen and forgotten, burns bright against our night. It's a cosmic reunion, a whisper from the deep past, lighting our present. Cosmic dust has a faint scent, though not one our human noses could ever directly perceive. When scientists analyze the molecular compounds found in dust clouds, they discover ingredients that would smell smoky, sweet, and earthy, like burnt sugar or almonds. These are complex hydrocarbons, the same molecules that make up perfume, oil, and even DNA. So if you could somehow breathe in the dust of the Milky Way, it might smell like old wood smoke and honey, the fragrance of stars and carbon life intertwined. The universe, it seems, has its own subtle perfume, carried quietly on invisible grains. When supernovas explode, the intense pressure and heat forge new dust from the ashes of the dying star. These freshly formed grains glow in the aftermath, reflecting the light of the expanding cloud. Astronomers studying supernova remnants, like the Crab Nebula, can see this process unfold, the literal rebirth of dust from destruction. The irony is beautiful. The death of a star is the beginning of dust, and dust is the beginning of stars. In this endless exchange, there is no true ending. The universe breathes through its cycles, turning loss into light. The light we see from cosmic dust often takes millions of years to reach us. By the time it touches our eyes or our telescopes, the stars that illuminated it may already be gone. What we see is the echo of their light, the afterglow of something that once was. When you gaze at images of nebulas or galaxies, you're not seeing the present. You're looking into a memory, frozen in space. Cosmic dust preserves that memory like a photograph kept in the dark, still shining long after its subject has faded. In the end, cosmic dust teaches us something profound about existence. From it, everything is born: stars, planets, and life itself. Yet, it is the simplest, smallest thing imaginable. It does not shine, it does not roar, it does not call attention to itself. And still, it holds the universe together. There is a quiet power in humility, in being part of something vast without needing to be seen. The dust that drifts between stars is not just matter, it is memory, motion, and meaning. And in that dust, scattered across the void, lies the most beautiful truth of all, that even the smallest things can build eternity. The story of cosmic dust is written in color and light. Astronomers use special instruments to decode this story, studying how dust absorbs, scatters, and re-emits starlight. Each grain carries a unique signature, a spectral fingerprint that reveals its composition. When scientists read those patterns, they are not merely studying minerals, they are listening to history. In that faint radiation lies the tale of how the universe built itself. One atom, one grain, one glow at a time. It is humbling to realize that something so small can record the memory of eternity, storing the chemistry of creation within its silent frame. The interstellar dust between stars can sometimes align with magnetic fields that stretch across light years. When this happens, the scattered light becomes polarized, slightly twisted, slightly organized. This subtle change tells astronomers that even the smallest grains respond to forces that span galaxies. Dust is not chaos, it is structure in disguise. Through it, we can map the invisible patterns of magnetism that weave through the Milky Way. Like iron filings tracing an unseen hand, dust reveals the shape of the universe's hidden energy, elegant, precise, and endlessly patient. There is a quiet place between galaxies, vast regions called cosmic voids. Even there, in the coldest emptiness imaginable, cosmic dust drifts. Sparse, faint, almost forgotten, these particles wander alone through a darkness that stretches for hundreds of millions of light years. Yet they persist. They carry the same carbon, oxygen, and silicon that build stars and life. The dust in those voids may never again form a planet or glow with starlight, and still it remains. In its endurance there is meaning, that even in the loneliest places, something endures, something continues, something simply is. When galaxies collide, they release vast waves of dust that swirl into intricate shapes, bridges, tails, and ribbons stretching across the stars. The antennae galaxies, for instance, glow with golden dust lanes born from that collision. These regions sparkle with new stars forming from compressed clouds. Out of destruction comes creation once more. The violence that tears galaxies apart also gives rise to beauty and renewal. Cosmic dust is the medium of that transformation, the thread that stitches chaos back into harmony. The universe's great paradox is laid bare. Every end feeds another beginning. In the cold darkness of molecular clouds, cosmic dust shields fragile molecules from ultraviolet light. Behind that protection, chemistry thrives. Complex compounds, like formaldehyde, methanol, and even amino acids, form on dust-grained surfaces. These molecules are the ancestors of life, long before biology ever existed. In a sense, dust is the first chemist of the cosmos, quietly mixing, preserving, and experimenting with the ingredients of existence. When these grains eventually find their way to young planets, they bring the recipe of life along with them. All living things, from the smallest cell to the tallest tree, owe their spark to this ancient, unseen laboratory. Some cosmic dust carries water in frozen form, tiny icy mantles that coat grains drifting in the dark. When those grains fall into protoplanetary disks, they deliver that water to young worlds. It is likely that Earth's oceans began this way, seeded by cosmic ice carried here in the earliest days of our solar system. Every drop of water you've ever touched, every wave that has ever crashed, began as ice clinging to dust in space. It traveled across the void to become rain, river, and sea. To drink water is, in a sense, to sip the universe itself. When the James Webb Space Telescope opened its golden eyes to the cosmos, it revealed dust like never before. Its infrared vision pierced through clouds once thought impenetrable, showing us the soft filigree of starlight hidden beneath. In Webb's images, dust glows like silk, red, gold, and bronze, alive with motion. What once appeared empty now teems with detail. The telescope did more than capture pictures. It allowed us to witness the universe breathing. Dust, it turns out, is not just residue. It is the architecture of creation, the scaffolding of stars, the frame around light itself. Cosmic dust behaves differently in the presence of black holes. Near these gravitational giants, dust can form rings and spirals of glowing material, heated as it orbits the abyss. Some of it eventually falls inward, vanishing beyond the event horizon, while the rest is flung outward in luminous jets. The result is astonishing, an image of both devouring and giving. Even black holes, the symbols of finality, rely on dust to reveal their presence. Without that glow, we would never see them. Dust outlines the edges of mystery, tracing where light is lost and where understanding begins. As stars age and swell into red giants, they shed their outer layers into space, releasing dust in soft, steady waves. These gentle winds carry the ingredients of life into the galaxy: carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. From a single dying star, trillions of grains are born, each destined for new worlds. What looks like an ending is, in truth, a gift. The universe recycles everything, even its own light. The air you breathe and the stars you see are made of the same farewell dust exhaled by ancient suns. It's a legacy written in particles and light, whispering nothing is ever truly gone. When you step outside on a clear night and look up at the Milky Way, know that much of its shimmer is not from stars, but from dust reflecting their glow. What you see as gentle light is the collective breath of billions of dying stars and countless new ones being born. You are looking at the living skin of the galaxy, delicate, luminous, eternal. And in that glow lies your own reflection, because you too are made of the same dust. Every cell, every heartbeat, every breath is part of that quiet conversation between stars and space. You are not beneath the universe, you are within it. Cosmic dust, though nearly invisible, sculpts the light of the entire universe. Each particle acts like a prism, bending and diffusing starlight across unimaginable distances. Without dust, the Milky Way would not shimmer. It would blaze harshly, raw, and cold. Instead, these tiny grains filter and soften the radiance of suns, turning brilliance into something our eyes can bear. This quiet transformation is one of the universe's most delicate miracles. Through dust, the cosmos becomes beautiful rather than blinding. Every cloud, every halo, every golden edge around a distant nebula owes its color and shape to this invisible painter. And in the grandest sense, we owe our view of the universe to the smallest things it contains. When we breathe, we inhale the remnants of stars. Microscopic traces of cosmic dust constantly fall through Earth's atmosphere, mingling with rain and air. Some of the oxygen we breathe, The iron in our blood and the calcium in our bones once drifted through space as part of these ancient grains. Each breath you take continues a story that began billions of years ago, the story of matter becoming life. Cosmic dust is the thread connecting the infinite with the intimate. You carry the stars inside you, not as poetry, but as physics. It's the quiet truth of existence. We are not visitors to the universe. We are its continuation, its expression in living form. When astronomers point their telescopes toward newborn stars, they often find thick clouds of dust blocking the light. But in infrared, those same regions glow softly, revealing entire nurseries of creation. This duality is one of cosmic dust's most profound qualities. It conceals and reveals at once. It hides the violence of starbirth behind beauty and mystery, protecting the fragile while displaying the eternal. These veils of dust are not obstacles, but guardians. They give time for stars to form, to grow, and to begin shining on their own. Without dust, the universe would still burn, but it would not nurture. Some cosmic dust drifts into our atmosphere and becomes part of our weather. These particles, invisible to the eye, help water vapor condense, forming clouds and eventually rain. In this subtle way, dust from dead stars shapes the water cycle on Earth. The raindrop that touches your skin may have begun as a grain of stardust billions of years ago. Life in its endless circle relies on what falls from the sky, a gift from the cosmos to the oceans, from the oceans to life. The clouds above us are not just earthly, they are cosmic. They are the sky remembering where it came from. There are storms on Mars made almost entirely of dust, massive swirling tempests that can envelop the entire planet for months. Each particle rises, falls, and rises again, dancing endlessly across red plains. Similar dust storms happen on Titan, on Venus, even on distant exoplanets. Dust is the universal traveler, moving through every world the same way, patient, eternal, indifferent. It is one of the few things that unites all planets. Their surfaces change, their atmospheres differ, but dust is always there, drifting quietly, rewriting landscapes grain by grain. The same cosmic dust that drifts in galaxies shapes the sands beneath alien skies. In the earliest days of the universe, there was no color, only light. Then came dust. These tiny grains, forged in the depths of the first stars, scattered light in all directions, allowing the cosmos to paint itself for the first time. Every hue you see, the red of nebulae, the gold of sunrise, the blue of a distant world exists because of dust. Without it, the universe would still shine, but it would have no texture, no warmth, no art. Dust gave the cosmos its face, its subtle gradients, its beauty. It gave light a way to speak softly. Cosmic dust is a time capsule, carrying ancient isotopes that reveal the history of stars. Some grains contain radioactive elements that act like cosmic clocks, allowing scientists to measure their age. Others preserve chemical fingerprints of the supernovas that created them. When we study these grains, we are reading the autobiography of the universe, written not in ink, but in atoms. Every grain is a page from the book of time. To hold even one is to touch the memory of creation, a relic of events that occurred before the earth existed, before our sun ever shone. In deep space, cosmic dust sometimes forms crystalline structures, tiny gems floating in darkness. Grains of olivine, pyroxene, and graphite drift between stars like microscopic jewels. Under powerful telescopes, these crystals sparkle faintly, reflecting starlight as they travel. It's breathtaking to think that the universe makes jewelry, not for admiration, but as a byproduct of its own rhythm. These cosmic crystals, carried by comets and meteorites, occasionally find their way to Earth, falling silently through the sky. Every gemstone we wear is, in some way, a reflection of these ancient wanderers. The sparkle of a diamond mirrors the shimmer of dust drifting between galaxies. The heat from cosmic dust helps maintain the temperature of galaxies. As it absorbs ultraviolet light from stars, it warms and re-radiates that energy in the infrared, balancing the galactic environment. Without this exchange, galaxies would be colder, dimmer, and less hospitable to star formation. Dust is not simply passive matter. It regulates the cosmic ecosystem. It's a natural thermostat, maintaining the delicate harmony of light and heat across billions of light years. Even in the vacuum of space, order exists. Even in silence, balance prevails. Perhaps the most poetic truth about cosmic dust is this: it connects everything that has ever existed. From the first stars that exploded billions of years ago to the distant galaxies forming now, dust travels endlessly, carrying atoms from place to place, life to life. It does not stop, it does not age, it simply moves, weaving together all moments into one continuous thread. Every sunrise, every heartbeat, every new star is part of this ongoing rhythm. When you look at the night sky, remember, you are seeing your own origins scattered and shining back at you. You are made of cosmic dust, and in that realization lies both peace and belonging. In the deepest corners of interstellar clouds, cosmic dust gathers in silence. Here, where light barely reaches, the temperature drops to almost absolute zero. Yet even in this frozen stillness, change continues. Atoms and molecules cling to the surfaces of dust grains, forming layers of ice that shimmer faintly in the infrared. These icy coatings preserve traces of water, carbon dioxide, methane, and ammonia, the raw materials of chemistry that once built oceans, clouds, and life itself. The cold does not mean lifelessness, it means patience. The universe works slowly, crafting its miracles, atom by atom, waiting billions of years to create something that can wonder at its own origins. When we look at comets through telescopes, we are watching dust in motion, dust awakened by sunlight after eons of slumber. The tails that trail behind them are not flames, but streams of tiny grains reflecting the sun's light. Each comet is a messenger from the ancient past, carrying frozen dust left over from the formation of our solar system. When these comets release their particles into space, they weave new threads into the tapestry of planets, moons, and atmospheres. Each orbit is a reminder that the materials of creation are still circling, still returning, still sharing themselves with the universe. Far from stars, in the space between galaxies, cosmic dust drifts without light to guide it. It travels for billions of years through darkness, carried only by the faint pull of gravity. This lonely dust, unseen and almost undetectable, still holds the same atoms that once glowed in the hearts of suns. It is eternal in a way few things are, not alive, not dead, just endlessly moving. In its persistence lies a quiet kind of faith, a cosmic endurance that outlasts everything else. Even where no light shines, dust continues its silent pilgrimage through the dark. The birth of planets begins in the most delicate of ways. Within young stellar disks, dust grains start to cling together, drawn by faint electrostatic forces. They form clumps, then pebbles, and eventually boulders that swirl around their parent star. Over millions of years, these gatherings grow massive enough to pull in gas, forming the skeletons of planets. Each world, from the smallest moon to the largest gas giant, begins as dust. Even Earth, with all its oceans, forests, and mountains, was once no more than a handful of grains drifting in space. The solid ground beneath your feet is made of stardust that simply refused to let go. Cosmic dust shapes light in ways that define what we can see and what we cannot. When we gaze into a star field, some regions appear black, as though holes have been cut into the heavens. These are not voids, but clouds of dust so dense that they block starlight entirely. Yet behind those shadows, stars are being born. The universe hides its most profound acts of creation in places that look empty. What appears as darkness to our eyes is simply light not yet revealed. a secret still being written. Every shadow in the sky is a promise of something waiting to shine. Around dying stars, dust blooms like petals from a fading flower. As red giants shed their outer layers, waves of material drift outward into space, glowing softly in infrared light. These shells expand for thousands of years before dispersing into the interstellar medium. What remains is a beautiful irony, the death of a star creating the dust that will one day birth new stars. Cosmic dust is both ashes and seeds. It carries within it the end and the beginning in the same breath. It is the universe's way of recycling eternity. When you look at the faint glow of the Milky Way stretching across the night, you're not just seeing stars, you're seeing light filtered through dust. That hazy band across the sky is the visible outline of our galaxy's dusty arms. Each glimmer, each soft curve of brightness, is a mixture of light and shadow, a delicate balance of energy and matter. In a way, the Milky Way's beauty depends on imperfection. If space were clear and empty, we would see only harsh brilliance, not wonder. Dust makes the universe tender. It adds texture to infinity. The dust that travels through the solar system often burns away in Earth's atmosphere, but some of it survives the descent. These surviving grains fall gently to the surface, tiny, metallic, crystalline, older than the planet they now rest upon. Scientists find them embedded in ice sheets, on mountaintops, and even in deep-sea sediments. Holding one is like holding a memory. It is a fragment of another world, a relic of times before time. It tells us that Earth is not isolated. It's constantly connected, constantly receiving messages in the form of dust that fell from the stars. Cosmic dust is delicate beyond imagination. Each grained surface carries subtle electric charges and absorbs radiation that slowly changes its structure. Over millions of years, it may become carbon-rich, metallic, or crystalline. Some grains are destroyed by intense radiation, others are reborn in supernova shockwaves. But nothing is ever lost. The materials are reused endlessly. The universe, it seems, has perfect efficiency. Even in destruction, it finds creation. Even in scattering, it finds unity. Dust proves that everything in existence is temporary in form, but eternal in essence. And perhaps the most humbling truth is this. When the last stars fade, when galaxies grow cold and the universe becomes dark, dust will remain. Even when there is no light to illuminate it, it will continue to drift through the endless night. It will carry within it the memory of everything that was. Every star, every planet, every dream ever formed beneath their glow. The cosmos will end not in silence but in soft persistence, a universe asleep wrapped in the dust of its own story. In some regions of space, dust coils into enormous graceful arcs that wrap around star clusters like silken ribbons. These arcs form when stellar winds blow against dense clouds, carving elegant boundaries where radiation and matter meet. The visual effect is like a slow-motion tide frozen in light, and when viewed in infrared, these ribbons glow with warm color, each wisp marking the slow dialogue between newborn stars and the very material that birthed them, a conversation played out across millennia in silence and soft motion. There are places where dust and gas organize into vast bubble-like cavities, hollowed by the pressure of clustered stars. Inside these cavities, the air of the galaxy feels different, calmer, cooler, and full of possibility. And as the edges slowly collapse and fragment under gravity, they seed new waves of star formation, a quiet chain reaction of birth and gentle destruction that stitches generations together like links in a cosmic necklace. Some dust grains are coated with layers of complex organics molecules formed in the slow chemistry of deep space that include carbon chains and aromatic compounds. These molecular mantles are laboratories where simple atoms become more complex, where the ingredients for biology are assembled on the surface of a speck no larger than a grain of sand. And when such grains are later gathered into comets or planets, they bring with them centuries of chemistry waiting to be awakened by heat and water. When galaxies interact, their dusty lanes can be swept and tangled into theatrical plumes that span hundreds of thousands of light years. Those plumes glow faintly and seed new sites of star formation where the density increases. So collisions that look violent from afar also become acts of generous production, scattering raw material across space until new systems can rise from the aftermath of their meeting. Dust shapes the very silhouette of galaxies. Seen edge on, a spiral is defined not only by its stars, but by lanes of dark dust that cut like ink through starlight. These dark corridors tell astronomers where gas is cold and dense, where future stars are hiding in shadow. And they remind us that beauty in the cosmos is always a balance of light and shelter, of exposure and careful concealment. There are tiny dust grains whose surfaces have been annealed by heat and then cooled slowly, creating microscopic crystalline patterns that sparkle faintly when struck by light. Such crystals are time capsules of thermal history, bearing witness to episodes of heating from nearby flashes or jets. And their intricate structure tells a pale story of fire, followed by patient cooling in the blackness between suns. Some interstellar dust becomes electrically charged by cosmic rays and ultraviolet light. These charged grains interact with magnetic fields, aligning and drifting in ordered ways that influence how clouds collapse and how filaments form, so that the invisible forces of magnetism leave visible art in the shape of dust, an unseen hand guiding matter into patterns of beauty and purpose. On a planetary scale, dust storms demonstrate the universal temperament of these grains. On Mars, whole continents of sand rise and smear the sky into copper twilight, while on Venus, fine particulates hide the lower atmosphere in a thick reflective blanket. Different worlds, different climates, but the same fundamental actor, dust, quietly rewriting landscapes and moods across the solar system. In the quiet depths of planetary rings, dust dances in resonance with moons. Shimmered satellites create ripples and waves in the ring's dust, generating patterns that can be read like sheet music, each gap and braid the result of gravitational choreography. These rings are living diagrams of the laws of motion, showing how the humblest grains respond to the pull of nearby bodies and arrange themselves into architecture both simple and exquisite. Finally, dust is the material memory of dead stars. When massive suns explode, they seed space with heavy elements that condense into new solid grains. And those grains, after drifting perhaps through many galaxies, may one day be incorporated into a new world, a planet, an ocean, or a living cell, so that the end of one star quietly becomes the first breath of another story, the continuum of matter, bridging endings and beginnings. In the darkest lanes between spiral arms, dust forms filaments so fine and so dense that they hide nascent stars entirely from view in visible light. Only by listening in infrared or submillimeter can astronomers witness the slow gestation within, and those hidden nurseries remind us that much of creation is unseen, patiently working behind veils until it is ready to shine. Some dust grains survive passage through stellar winds and shock waves by acquiring protective coats of ice and organics, a survival tactic that preserves fragile chemistry until conditions change. These resilient grains are nature's messengers, able to travel unscathed across hostile regions and seed distant worlds with the molecular legacy of their origins. When telescopes map polarization of starlight, the pattern often reveals the presence of aligned dust grains tracing magnetic field lines. These maps look like celestial calligraphy and show that dust is not merely passive ballast, but an instrument that records and displays the invisible geometry of galactic forces, converting magnetism into imagery we can read. Dust in the form of interplanetary particles drifts through the inner solar system as an ethereal cloud, producing the zodiacal glow that sweeps faintly along the ecliptic at twilight. This phenomenon is a nightly reminder that tiny particles can create a soft, shared luminosity, turning ordinary hours into moments touched by the slow flow of the cosmos. Primitive meteorites, when sliced and studied in the lab, reveal embedded pre-solar grains, whose isotopic signatures betray formation in ancient stars. Such inclusions are literal fossils of stellar processes and show that dust can act as a direct archive of nucleosynthesis, preserving in miniature the alchemy that built the elements. Cosmic dust is also a climate actor. In planetary atmospheres, high-altitude dust can reflect sunlight or trap heat, subtly altering temperatures and weather patterns. Whether twirling in exoplanet skies or lofted by volcanic plumes on Earth, dust moderates climate, making it an unassuming yet potent agent of environmental change. Some of the most enigmatic astronomical objects, the dusty, obscured quasars, hide voracious black holes whose light is swathed by dense, dusty cocoons. That same dust, heated to scorching temperatures, re-emits in infrared, allowing astronomers to detect the otherwise invisible heart of galaxies and revealing that even the fiercest energy sources must dress themselves in matter to be seen. Dust grains can catalyze chemistry by concentrating and orienting molecules on their surfaces. The geometry of a grain S surface allows certain reactions to proceed that would be unlikely in diffuse gas, effectively turning these specks into nanoscale reactors where complexity grows until it can be released into larger environments, spreading the seeds of chemical richness. Across cosmic time, dust production and destruction balance in a grand cycle. Stars forge and expel grains, interstellar shocks grind them down, yet subsequent cooling allows recondensation. This rhythmic turnover maintains a steady supply that keeps galaxies fertile, a slow heartbeat of matter renewing itself across eons and enabling successive generations of structure. And so, when you drift to sleep tonight, imagine dust not as mere clutter, but as the universe's patient author, writing subtle revisions into every cloud, composing tiny gestures that, when multiplied by a trillion, become the mountains, the oceans, the breath of living things. In that gentle persistence, you can feel the quiet continuity of existence, the knowing that from the smallest grain to the grandest galaxy, all things are part of the same long, luminous story. As our quiet journey comes to a close, let yourself feel the immensity of what we've just explored. The dust that drifts through galaxies, that forms stars and worlds, is the same dust that rests within you. It has no beginning and no end, only motion, only transformation. Every thought you have, every breath you take, is part of that continuum. You are made of the same material that glows in distant nebulae, that softens the light of the Milky Way, that still travels through the dark between galaxies. You are not observing the universe. You are the universe in its most intricate form. So as you drift towards sleep, imagine yourself among the stars, floating through clouds of gold and silver, through veils of blue light and rivers of darkness. Feel the calm weightlessness of belonging to everything. The stars above you are not distant. They are your ancestors. The dust that settles on your skin tonight once shimmered in a sun's last breath. And long after our time has passed, it will rise again, becoming something new, something radiant. The story of cosmic dust is the story of continuity, of the quiet, eternal pulse that carries creation forward. Nothing ends, nothing is lost. It all becomes something else. The universe keeps breathing, and you are part of that breath. Thank you for joining the Sleepy Scientist tonight. If this journey brought you peace, stay for the next voyage, where science meets stillness and knowledge becomes rest. Until then, sleep gently, dream deeply, and remember, you are made of stars. Good night.